What's going on, everybody? This is Mike, and this is Serial at Night Daily, episode number 60. And like I said on yesterday's show, gonna sit here and try to keep these things going as long as possible, as long as there's things to talk about. And today I thought about, let me adjust something here. There we go. So yesterday I started thinking about what to podcast about. My original intention was to chat about streamers and streaming responsibility and blah, 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 blah. And then I realized that Gears 5 is coming out and that the review embargo lifted. And so, like a dumbass, I thought, well, maybe I should check out Twitter, see what's going on with with Gears 5. And it turns out that people aren't happy with the Gears 5 review scores. Surprise, surprise, surprise. So here we are once again with another entry into the Gears series, and a game that people are generally fans of. And once again, we can't get past the console wars and the dumb fandom for whatever box you decide to play on. This shit is getting ridiculous. So, I understand that not everybody can either justify buying multiple consoles or wants to justify buying multiple consoles or can afford multiple consoles. But my God, we've now got Metacritic for Gears 5 at 86. And Xbox fans are not happy that it's an 86 because that's not high enough. And then we've got PlayStation fans that are celebrating its failure because it's a fucking 86. You can't make it up. This is getting... it makes my head hurt. First, we're talking about game consoles. People can spend their money however they see fit. And if you feel like you want to experience all the games, you can buy multiple consoles. It's just money. And if you can't afford multiple consoles, you choose the one that you can afford. You choose the one that appeals to your tastes, and you move on with life because it's a pretty personal fucking decision. But then you've got these people that just need some sort of justification in their life that they made the right purchase. Or they can't just, let other people enjoy the games that they play. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me, and this goes back to gamers are the problem. Okay? And again, I use the term gamer in the minority fashion. If you're the type of person that needs to wear your gaming culture on your sleeve and be a gamer, like I have a fucking podcast. I've recorded 200 of these things. But I still don't say I'm a fucking gamer. You know why? Because gamers are these fucking morons online complaining about Gears of War 5 scores. People are complaining about other people's opinions about the fucking game instead of just buying the game and playing it themselves. And in this case, you don't even need to buy the game if you have Xbox Game Pass because you just fucking get it for $10 a month or $60 a year, whatever it comes out to, on top of your Games with Gold or Gold membership, right? And then the fact that you've got these PlayStation fans trying to be elitists, like, look at us over here, we've got all these great games. Yeah, you do. And you know what? I don't know. I own a PlayStation. I got to play those great games. I'm also a fucking person that can think for myself, and other than Spider-Man, I have not been thrilled with any of the PlayStation fucking exclusives. I haven't. Spider-Man was fucking incredible. I didn't like God of War. I didn't like Uncharted 4. Uncharted 1 through 3, Lost Legacy, and the Vita Uncharted is my favorite. It's my favorite series of all time. I didn't like Uncharted 4. Okay, we've got The Last of Us coming, which is probably going to be incredible. And there's a variety of other exclusives, tons of other exclusives that have come out. But like the big ones people hang their hats on, I haven't been a huge fan of those. But that's my opinion. But you've got these fucking people that just cannot get over the fact that all a game score is somebody's opinion. Well, it should be at least. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit of a mess here because I've complained about game scores a lot. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, and how there seems to be groupthink in the critical the critics in the industry. Like I don't feel like the critics are actually critics at all. I think they're fans that pick and choose when they want to be critical. I've said that before. I feel like the paid journalists and the paid reviewers, I don't feel like they're actual critics, right? Just based on the fact that like review scores are just always so consistent, it seems. There never seems to be any outliers, and if there is an outlier, that person is trying to get it's clickbait, whether it's too high or too low, right? And you see the gear scores, and you see a variety of scores in the, again, the average of the 80 to 90 range, and you get an 86, and there's very few that are below 80, and there's very few that are below or above 90, right? Which gets us there. Which brings me to another point. Metacritic's fucking stupid. Something like Rotten Tomatoes has a much better system for reviews. It's either thumbs up or thumbs down, positive or negative, and then that's the percentage. What's the percentage of thumbs up versus thumbs down? Right? If you did that with Metacritic, every fucking video game would be a thumbs up because every video game gets a 7 or higher. It's ridiculous because, again, game reviewers don't know how to do their fucking job. But at the end of the day, for people to get mad between it's an 86 and it's not high enough, and then Sony fucking gamers to say, oh my God, look at that, an 86, like, you gotta be kidding me. And that's where I come back to gamers are the problem. And when I say gamers, I mean the irrational, hardcore gamers that cannot comprehend that some people just buy a game, play a fucking game, and move on with their life. And this is the kind of shit that just floods Twitter. This is the kind of shit that I just like. Again, it took me everything to just not even respond to some of this stuff on Twitter, but I said I'm backing off of it. I can't do it. These are the people that represent the gaming community. And then it's funny because it breaks down to, well, they're not really real gamers then. So now there's gamer on gamer hate. At the end of the day, if you're one of these fucking people that is having an argument about the Gears of War scores, you're the fucking problem. And you're just perpetuating the stereotype. And then I'm certainly continuing to perpetuate it by having this conversation right now, but I just cannot believe Gears 5, I'm stoked about it. I cannot wait to play it. I've got it preloaded on my PC ready to go. And this is the kind of thing people are complaining about. Like, it's funny because I thought I was going to sit down and have some sort of profound comments on this, and I'm actually just like, these are adults. Adults complaining about this shit. Absolutely mind-boggling to me. So anyway, here's what I'd recommend. If you have an Xbox or a PC, play the game. And you might like it or you might not. If you don't like it, you don't have to finish it. It's not required. And if you're a PlayStation fan and you don't have an Xbox, actually, if you only own a PlayStation, I'm not even going to say a PlayStation fan. If you only own a PlayStation and don't own an Xbox, fair, enjoy your PlayStation games because there's plenty of them. My God, it's absolutely It's absolutely mind-boggling to me. Oh, it's just insane. It's a pure insanity. So anyway, with that, I want to talk about a couple things as far as game review. So I played some more Astral Chain. These last few days, I picked it up. I heard a lot about it leading up to its release, and I really liked the style of the game. I thought it was a beautiful game. I think it is a beautiful game. I love the artwork. I love the art direction. I'll say one thing, and this is a me problem. The lack of anti-aliasing on Switch games, especially in handheld mode, I can't unsee it. Like, I focus just on the fact that there's no anti-aliasing for the most part, and it just drives me up a wall. Like, I just can't, like, I can't get over it, but that's not impacting my enjoyment or lack thereof of the game. So, I played a few hours of it, and I read quite a bit about how it takes a few hours to get ramped up, and it just takes a little bit to get into it, and for all the mechanics to hash out in the story to really get going. The problem for me is I didn't find the early story engaging. Like, sometimes those more, anime style or dialogue driven openings, or however you want to put it. I know somebody's going to tell me, you're using the wrong verbiage. Whatever. Like, I like quirkiness of those games, but this one just seemed boring to me. And people were mentioning, Nier Automata or even Bayonetta in comparisons to some of the story and some of the fighting models and things like that. I would prefer them to actually feel that way. Like, Bayonetta is probably one of my favorite, best controlling action games of the last 10 years. Astral Chain is not that. I do not feel like it controls great. I do not feel like the controls are innovative. And I don't think they need to be innovative. Like, every game doesn't need to reinvent the wheel, but I just don't feel like I see what it's trying to do, and I just don't feel like it gets there. Like, I'm not having fun with the combat. The story itself is not pulling me in, and I'm not going to even really get into some of that because I know that on games like this, people can be very sensitive if they have not played it yet. I know that I am that way. But I think it's great that it's fine. Like, especially me, I've been like, is there any new games on Switch? Just give me a Switch exclusive I want to play. And one comes out and I play it, and I just go, So, Astral Chain, Astral Chain's just not doing it for me. And this is the thing, people have said, like, if you're 3 hours in, you kind of have seen it, you got through the opening and have kind of seen what you need to see to be able to make a judgment. I'm going to go back to it one more time because I've played games where, and I know people say, I don't have time for a game to get good. Well, I'm this far into it, and other than Control, I don't have anything else like just clawing at me to play. And so I'm going to go back to it again because I've had so many games where I've started it and I've thought this isn't for me. And then I kept playing it and went, oh my God, I'm so glad that I didn't put that down and I saw it through. So I'm hoping Astral Chain is one of those games, but we'll see. So I'll report back. I'll report back next time I get a couple hours into that thing, and maybe I'll still be playing it. And then the other piece that I want to chat about is Control. And not the games, the games a little bit, but more or less the ray tracing implementation. So I'm a few hours into Control, and that game is right up my alley. I love it. But the thing that stood out is we finally have a game on PC that does ray tracing right, to the point where it's astonishing how much better it is. And I know there's people out there that say, well, a fun game is a fun game. Those visual aspects maybe don't matter. I agree. that a fun game can be a fun game. The unfortunate part is it also, I don't think, runs very well on the base systems. It's not just a ray tracing thing. But once you experience, like, I've tried ray tracing on a variety of games, but this is the first one where the way the light and the reflections and the shadows and everything actually moves, it makes it feel so much more real, I would say, and living maybe is the word. Like, actually, like, it there's no more uncanny valley of, like, oh, that's a shadow, but it's not really a shadow. Like, it's the fucking shadow, and you just stop and look at it and go, this is an incredible implementation of the technology. And now, I know they say they're going to get ray tracing on the next generation of consoles. I don't know how they're going to pull it off from a visual standpoint. I know they can do ray tracing kind of for audio too. But, you know, without being $1,000 for the consoles. I mean, look, the consoles are going to use off-the-shelf parts. It's going to be pretty much, I mean, there's going to be a proprietary box, right? It's not like they're just building a plug and play a PC together. But, like, that technology takes a ton of power. Like, I've got a 2080 Ti overclocked, and if I put ray tracing on max at 1440p, I can get 60 frames per second, but I got to dial the graphics textures down just a little bit. But, man, it looks incredible. Look, maybe they have some magical way to do this in a closed ecosystem on the next-gen consoles to get the ray tracing working. And for everybody's sake, I hope that's the case. Because this is a game changer. The way ray tracing actually looks in Control, it's a game changer, and I can't stress that enough. So, and then, I mean, just back to it, like, Control, like, even just the game itself, the environments, and how they handle the gameplay is very smart from and I don't want to, it's hard here because I absolutely don't want to spoil anything, but just, like, you can't reload your gun, right? There's kind of again, I'm being very general here, there's kind of a time limit to when you can use your gun or how you get more rounds. There's special abilities that you end up using because of that. The world itself is ultra destructive. And then you take that debris and that destruction and you combine it with the ray tracing on the PC. Like, it is an incredible display of technology. And then you put that on top of the fact that the game is absolutely incredible. Like, I cannot say enough about it. So, if you have not played Control yet, you absolutely need to go play Control. So anyway, you know what? I think that's going to wrap it up though for tonight's daily. Some of these might go longer, and probably most likely will be longer than 20 minutes on the dailies. I really did plan on going a little hardcore into some of the social aspects and responsibilities, or what I think should really be a lack of responsibility when it comes to some of the social aspects of streamers and marketing and advertising. But it was a little heavy. I didn't really feel like getting into it tonight. I did want to touch on that Gears of War stuff. That's absolutely absurd to me. I will check back in when I play some more Astral Chain, and I'm definitely, it looks like Gears 5 unlocks tomorrow at 9 p.m. Local time, wherever you're at. So I'm looking forward to getting into Gears 5 and definitely checking that out. So I'll have some thoughts on that once we get there. So until tomorrow, this is Serial at Night Daily, episode number 60. See ya.